Welcome back. You're watching The Money Show on ET Now, and this is Tech Tuesday. Today, we're going to talk about a segment of the smartphone market that I think a lot of people are very enthused about, very excited about. It is the return of the folding phone. And I must confess that I was one of the earliest users of a folding phone. It wasn't the Moto Razr that was very popular back in the day. It was in fact the modest Moto Flip. I'm going to be talking about the return of the fold with Tushar Kanwar, who's joining in. Tushar is a technology columnist. He writes for a lot of leading publications. Tushar, thank you so much for taking the time. I want to say, very exciting times. As a reviewer, as somebody that looks so closely at tech, is this a seminal shift in the way that we look at phones again? Obviously, we're going back to fold.
No, I think it's. I think a lot of us are jaded by the commoditized market that are smartphones today. So for the consumers, for companies, it represents an area of innovation. It represents something new, and I think this is a good reason why people are enthused by it, right? That there is a new form factor. It has the ability to do things that you wouldn't typically imagine in that phone form factor. Yeah.
Absolutely. But let's talk about the options that are currently available. I remember using the Moto Flip and even the Razr, the earlier one, where it's not exactly what you're seeing right now. It's a huge difference in the technology, right? So take us through that.
Right. So the foldables market has sort of gone from, I would say, somewhere in 2018, 19, where it was almost like escaped from the lab prototypes to something that is refined today, right? So I think the brand that has obviously the mind share and the market share today is Samsung. But that doesn't, mean that there aren't other players in the market. Xiaomi's got a foldable phone. Huawei's got a foldable phone as well. It's just that Samsung is present in most markets, and that's why they're, rightfully they're on top of the consumer mind share in the segment. Samsung has obviously two types of foldables, right? And that's what the foldable market is typically represented by. So one is the kind of phone that the Z Fold 3 represents, right? Which is a regular size phone, slightly thicker than normal, but then it opens up into a full-sized, almost like a tablet, right? That's one option. And then there's the other option, which is the Z Flip, right? Which is a very cute small form factor, but then it opens up into a perfectly usable regular phone form factor. Yeah. So these are the two broad types. You will have the Moto Razr, the Moto Razr 5G, which is also, it falls into the same category as the Z Flip. And then you have the Mate X2 from Huawei. You have Xiaomi's version. You also have, interestingly, some rollables along the way. So Oppo has a rollable prototype out. TCL, I believe, has a tri-fold concept where the screen folds 3 times, right? As opposed to the dual fold that you see in the fold, right? So there are a bunch of form factors that are out there that people are playing around with, and it's in early days yet, right? I mean, it's if I were to give you a sense of where the market is right now, till 2023, I think Counterpoint has Samsung pegged at around 75% of the market. And then I believe that they're pegging that Apple and a few others might make an entry around 2024. And that might shake the market up. Obviously, you'd see a lot of new form factors come out of that.
What's the verdict, though, based on the phones that you have available, Tushar? And specifically, I want your view on the Samsung phones. Is it worth the money? It is quite expensive.
It depends on what your motivations are, right? If you want the most unique phone in the party, these are it, right? Clearly, as phones go, I would say that none of them would beat records by any measure. Like, you would not say that the best camera performance or the best battery life or even the best I'd say the best phone experience would not be these phones, but they can do one thing that other phones can't do, which is transform, right? And that, I think, is from a person who wants a unique phone, from a person who wants something going into the festive season as the most hatke spend of money, then the foldables are refined enough to warrant a purchase. They've over the year, they've become more durable. So both of Samsung's phones are now water resistant. So you don't really have to baby them quite as much as you would have to previous versions. The Fold, for example, now even has the S Pen support, right? So you can actually write on the inner screen with this, and nothing has come as close to sort of replicating the pen and paper experience. So in terms of the book and the pen experience as this has. So there are certainly there are use cases where people would certainly see value in this. Are they cheap? No way. Even the less expensive, if I would put it that way, version, which is the Flip, right? That itself is what 84,999 starting, right? So these are expensive phones by all measure. But this is also early days in the market, and clearly all of this technology has to cost, right? And it's only over economies of scale that people will with brands will be able to price these more closer to the value segment.
But the bottom line, Tushar, is that exciting times are ahead of us, and hopefully, just for the sake of charm and for the sake of good times and nostalgia, I hope that they come up with a more affordable foldable phone. I will certainly consider it. Thank you so much for taking the time, Tushar. Pleasure speaking with you.
Thanks.